Perfect. Okay, now I will call the meeting to order. And Courtney, would you mind moving us through roll call?
Yes. Katie Grath-Novak.
Here.
Good morning, Katie. Commissioner Jody Shattuck McNally.
Present.
Vaughn Jones or Kirk Will.
Yeah, Kirk's here.
Hi, Kirk. Amy Moyer let us know she was going to be on a plane. John Ring.
Present.
Hi, John. Brett Wolk. Let's see. Don't see Brett on here yet. And Commissioner Veronica Medina. Don't see. Morning, Commissioner. So we do have quorum today.
Awesome. Thank you. Hopefully everyone got the tentative agenda. That is the agenda that we will be using today. So the first order of business is to approve the meeting minutes from July 13th, 2026. I would welcome a motion.
So moved.
Thank you. Anyone second?
I'll second.
All right, thank you. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you all for that. The next item on the agenda is just a quick update on the 30-year vision report. And Courtney, if you wouldn't mind giving that update, that would be great.
Yeah. So earlier this year, you all saw a sorry, I tried to start it for a second. Earlier this year, you all saw the final report version of the 30-year vision for Forest Health in Colorado. It was the version that Becca Smolsky from FACO put together in a Google Doc or a Word document. And so we've been working with the State Forest Service to turn that into something that's beautiful and polished with nice fonts and colors and photos throughout. And along with that process, we've found sections that we want to update. There are no changes to the goals, actions, or vision, but there's a bunch of these little pop-outs that are quotes that were collected during the process, or maybe statistics that were collected during the process. So we're just doing a little extra due diligence. We're, citing those sources, getting updated stats as needed, getting nice photos. And this is something that the State Forest Service is doing sort of on top of that their design team is doing on top of their already full portfolio. So we're really grateful for their design team doing a lot of work for this. And the content is really what the council approved, but we're hoping that this really nice, beautiful, polished version is something that we can share more liberally with people. We'll have printed versions. It can be at the next legislative breakfast, or if this committee wants some to bring along with the Forest Resilience Planning Guide to kind of, show different ways that the state is connecting its the things that the council has created to the work that the state is doing. So that's the update. We were hopeful that it would be completed by the August meeting, and TBD if we're going to be able to share a most final draft at that point or not.
Cool, thank you. I'm really excited to see it. Do you know, is that something that we would be able to request copies? Hey, I'm going to a conference, I would love to share this. Or do you know how that'll work yet? Or is that also TBD?
Yeah, we could. The council continues to not have a budget. And so I will, I can check in with Allison to see if there's any place where there's some discretionary spending, printing funds. So yeah, that's TBD if there's going to be a way for the council to print those for council members, but I can write that question down.
Awesome. No rush on that. I'm sure we can discuss that at the August meeting as well. I was just curious. Does anyone else have any questions or anything about that report? I just thought it was cool and thought we could all be updated on it. All right. Moving on, Allison, I know you don't have long to be with us, but I think you are here to share an update on the work group.
Yeah, thanks, Katie. And I know everybody in here probably remembers the acronym, but the work group is the Wildfire and Watershed Initiative for Resilient Colorado. This is a coalition of folks who are that are having discussions on statewide funding and other opportunities. We've been meeting, I guess now maybe a year and a half. But just a few updates, and I'm sorry if someone already updated this about this in the last meeting, but work has been moving along on what they're calling the forest restoration economy. And just a really, maybe in like the broader sense, right? Looking at the sort of potential circular economy that could and needs to exist in Colorado to support the wildfire mitigation and forest health work that we know needs to happen, as well as the industry that we know we need to be able to utilize and process the biomass, and then also how to potentially, increase our own state-focused economy with wood. So there's a lot more to that, of course, but what I'm going to do, Katie, is share with everyone via email. In May, on May 15th, work hosted a Forest Restoration Economy Summit, and it was probably the first and only meeting I've been to where we had more industry folks in the room than agency or other. And we had a really robust discussions all throughout the day. There was leadership there too from U.S. Forest Service, State Forest Service, and DNR. But I've got a summary that I want to share with everyone of some opportunities, where to go next, all of that. And so this is a really big topic that work is just trying to focus on right now. And then I don't have it to share yet, but internally, some folks are creating a roadmap. So all that we have right now is sort of like an internal working roadmap, but that will also be able to be shared with folks to sort of see where we need to go, or we could go, right? As we want to encourage and support our economy here that way. So that's been a really big focus, and so we are still. Some folks are just still working on that. But just more recently, the work group, the action team, met just last week to do a sort of a SWOT analysis of where the work group is as a whole right now. Funding for facilitation for the work group goes to the end of the calendar year. So, it's sort of short-term funding that way. Keystone Policy Center is the current facilitator for this effort, but we all met last week to really just talk about what's working, where are we at right now, and what do we want to do in the future. And what was highlighted was that, and then there will be notes from this, but it was just too soon. But really, what's highlighted is that the idea of a coalition of people to come together under that more coalition sense is really valuable, especially with all the cross-cutting issues that we have to discuss. And so most people in the room want to continue some form of a work group into the future. But of course, that also means funding is necessary if we want it to be facilitated. It was also highlighted that having that outside facilitator was really really nice for this type of really can be, well, it's kind of like an accordion, right? We can have a ton of people at the meetings or just a few, and they're all statewide, and that it's nice to have people sort of pushing on these much larger topics, like diversified funding and the forest restoration economy. These are some big topics. So hopefully we will continue. And if right now I'm just waiting on some of those preliminary notes from that meeting, and I'll share that with you all too. Julie was going to put together some high-level talking points on that. So that's really where we're at right now, Katie. Does anybody have any questions or thoughts or on any of that?
I'm trying to see how to raise my hand. Can I go ahead and ask a question, Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Thanks. Thanks for that update, Allison. I actually ran into Esther at the Poudre River Fest and had a good conversation with her, sharing my good news, which I'll share with you at the end of this. And she said a white paper that she had worked on and presented. I don't know if that's part of the work group. She said it was. Is that something that has been shared widely, or did I miss that one of the updates? And I was curious, what is that going to be used just for the work group, or trying to be helping with other groups like the Forest Health Council, Mountain Pine Beetle, things like that? That's my first question, then I'll share my good news.
I'm wondering if the white paper and the roadmap are the same thing, Commissioner. And any of the products that work has created, we have there's a website, we've got some one-pagers, things like that. I know that the work group would really like to share with the Forest Health Council some of their findings and some of the things that they are, the findings, I guess, and where they might have recommendations to go next based off of all of the research and the groups that they've convened. So, Commissioner, I think they do want to bring some of that to the Forest Health Council as for an education opportunity.
Awesome. So my good news is we are on track to place, we haven't taken an official vote on yet, but we are on track to add a wildfire sales tax onto the ballot this November. I've been working on this for 3 years. It's not perfect, but it is more than we have. And I just wanted to share that with you all because I will certainly need some support and help. And just wanted to say it's desperately needed, and but it will also be connected to watersheds. I think since I came on this Board of County Commissioners, getting things to talk about forest health and the connection with water certainly has been completely changed some of the conversations here. But I just wanted to share that so the next week or two I'll know more today whether it's when that official discussion vote will happen. But I wanted to just share that, and something that I've been trying to get over the finish line is, so I just wanted to, for all of you that are involved, it's if you're interested, there's ways of contacting me privately, and we'd be interested in having you help collaborate. Thanks.
Thank you, and congratulations. I know you've been working really hard on that. Cool. Yeah, Allison, please let us know if the work group does want to present to this committee at any point, or I'm sure, also the full council, just depending on what they want to share and who they want to share it with. But these updates are always really helpful.
Katie, would you for your next meeting, I'm guessing is in September, would you want me to request a presentation?
Maybe let's see how the full council August meeting goes and see if we have too many follow-ups for this group from that. But yeah, maybe. Okay.
And maybe the legislative council would like that, depending on how the August meeting goes as well.
All right. I'll circle back after the August meeting.
Sounds great.
That sounds good. And Allison, how often is the work group meeting right now?
Right now, the action team meets once a month. We used to meet once every 2 weeks, but now we're meeting about once a month.
Okay, cool. So at the very least, I think it makes sense to keep the standing agenda item to get updates on that, since that's the same cadence. Cool. And then does anyone else have any other questions or comments or ideas? All right. Courtney, I see your message in the chat, but for some reason it won't deliver my response. So that is fine with me, as long as everyone else is okay with just flipping agenda items 5 and 6. Is that right? Yeah. So agenda item 6 is the climate adaptation workshop follow-up discussion / council priority document. So for those who maybe weren't here at last month's meeting, we kind of started to talk about follow-ups from the full Forest Health Council's climate adaptation workshop, and then we kind of like veered into other things. So we wanted to just put that back on today's agenda as well. And then Courtney, do you want to maybe give an overview of the priority document that you sent and kind of weave those two together? Or Allison, I don't know who's best there.
Yeah, we wanted to just begin this conversation while Allison was still on the call. Yeah, I really appreciate Brett wanting to keep the conversation going from the climate adaptation workshop. It's unfortunate Brett's not here. He was such a great integral part of that. The document that I shared in the email was simply the vision, the 30-year vision with the goals within each theme. And then the top 3, what are they called? The top 3, I think maybe actions from the forest action plan that we discussed. So we did the dot voting during the climate adaptation workshop, and the 3 topics, actions that had the top 3 votes, I pulled into the document and I sorted underneath the theme that they were most relevant to. So I can share my screen and just briefly we can look at it together. I wanted to share this with the council just because, yeah, I think the council wants to keep the 30-year vision alive, and I think they also want to keep the energy from the climate adaptation workshop alive. So I just wanted to put this together and give you all kind of a preview, and if this wants to tie into the discussion of how we carry on the work from the climate adaptation workshop, it could be helpful. Here, the black text is from the 30-year vision. So this is our main 30-year vision. And then I have each of the themes with the goals. And then you can see here in blue, the forest action plan approach that was identified, pulled out of the forest action plan for that activity. So this was our number 1 priority: realign community expectations before, during, and after a forest disturbance and plan. And then each of these are the sticky notes that you all wrote, that I pulled from Katie's write-up, which was great. So you can see how that activity sort of maps onto our 30-year vision. That's what this document is. So in case people want to say, hey, we have a 30-year vision, but we also did this incredible climate adaptation workshop, where do they cross over? This document just helps you look at where they cross over.
Thank you for putting that together. That's really helpful. I feel like it helps add context to the whole climate adaptation workshop and all of our discussions that we've been having too.
Yes, absolutely.
So Courtney, I'm wondering, I don't know if you know this yet, and Commissioner, I see your hand next, but do you know what the conversation is going to look like at the August meeting yet? Like, what are our goals for that going to be, or is it going to be kind of open-ended?
I think we want to present this and ask the council how it wants to continue to take action on the 30-year vision and or the climate adaptation workshop. So just giving council members the opportunity to share like where they feel inspired, where they want to work, what kind of work they want to do on this. If the committees want to prioritize any of these items, like these are the things that the council has prioritized. So I think the question at the next council meeting is, how do you all want to take steps to work on any of these things? And because the committees are where so much work is done, we wanted to make sure that the committees saw this, and I think this can be a really great resource for the committees going forward too, like this clear list of what the council has prioritized.
Awesome. Yeah, I think that'll be really helpful, because I think one of the things that I'm hoping to get out of the next full council meeting is like a little bit more direction for this committee anyway. And so this could tie into that conversation too. Commissioner, go ahead.
I had a work session earlier with CSU Extension as part of our human service and economic development work session, and Extension, one of the natural resources group, since this is leveraging resources, they started talking about the water plan that the county is doing and working on that, and working with land use and forest health and soil health. And I'm like, oh, here's another group working in this space, and they have resources, and they're out actually walking on land with landowners and having conversations. And so I'm wondering how we connect with them, and because I brought up that, hey, there's a 30-year vision from the Forest Health Council, and there's these resources and these guides. Maybe your guide that you just developed, which it's called it's through the CSU Extension, and it's their natural resources person, who's Jenna. I'll have to look at her name, but you could probably contact Carrie Weiner, who is the director for this area, and get that. But I just wanted an opportunity for us to maybe make sure we don't have silos, or maybe information that is maybe not always aligned. And I know they were writing down furiously that, hey, there's a 30-year vision. Maybe we should bring that. I said, you should reference that. And so I just wanted to kind of bring that up, because I don't know if that's in all the counties or in certain counties, but that might be another resource, another partner to bring on board with our planning guide and some of this other stuff, especially since they're working in a space that's a little different. So I'm just curious about that. Thanks.
Aaron, is yours a response to Jody? Okay, go ahead.
I'll just say that the Colorado State Forest Service has moved underneath the Office of Extension and Engagement at CSU, and we are meeting on a real regular basis with our partners in Extension. We are building out a plan to share all sorts of information and opportunities so that they can get further engaged in this space with us, not just on the Front Range, but all across the state. So we're going to be going through processes of bringing up to speed all of the people who are in their natural resources PRU on all of this stuff.
That's wonderful. I just wanted to highlight that they didn't know about the 30-year plan. And so I just wanted to kind of make sure we're not duplicating, but also especially if they're going out and having one-on-one talks with landowners, and we have some of those resources that we've worked on. I just think I think it's wonderful. The more the merrier, but I just want to make sure if we're duplicating or they're getting mixed messages, and I know that you guys have moved under. I know that very well. That's why I mentioned it today. Hey, the Colorado State Forest is under you. How can we connect this all together? So I just wanted to highlight that as something maybe for us to capitalize on and amplify and support each other. Thanks.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks for bringing that up. And Aaron, I have kind of a follow-up question for you, which is, so State Forest Service is putting together this plan of how you're going to share all that information. I assume Extension is doing the same thing. I wonder, they might also have these high-level visions and plans too. And do you think that there would be, I don't know, maybe like an opportunity to have them talk to us, just more of that dot connecting, obviously us connecting dots to them, but also vice versa, and making sure that we know their world.
we're really building this stuff out. And so there's an entire steering committee that's really trying to figure out how the folks from not just Extension, but also from SPUR and the Water Resources Center at SPUR can work better and more aligned with both Extension and the Colorado State Forest Service. So this steering committee that is kind of figuring out how to better integrate and inform everybody has identified it's at the start of the process, but we've identified some opportunities really early on, and we are meeting on a regular basis. So it's definitely not a one way from one side and another way from the other side, but we're trying to figure out how to build in some of that capacity and keep a duplication of effort occurring, but also provide the opportunity that I think Commissioner Shattuck-Manally identified is a consistency in message on some of this stuff. So that's what we're really working towards, but it's really at the start of the process. We just made the move. We've had a couple of meetings and we're building some of this stuff out, but we've got planned meetings and planned trainings together over the course of the next year. So it'll be a little bit of time before we really figure out where some of these opportunities are, but we look forward to getting them included in a lot of the meetings that we attend regularly and to figure out different roles where we can each highlight our strengths and pass those along to the citizens of Colorado that deserve that. So we're getting there, but it's the start of a process. We're working on it.
Thank you. Yeah, I know it'll be a long road. I think it's really exciting, though. It's going to be a good transition, I think. Allison?
Katie, just one more thing real quick before I hop off. I think it's important. This group has produced some amazing things over the last few years, and it's so great that the Forest Resilience Planning Guide is still in ongoing conversation and in a place where we're engaging at the local and regional level. So I'm really grateful for that coming back to Summit and other areas and as many places that we can, put that in the forefront to continue. I will, with the governor transition this year in DNR in our office, we're working on, multiple layers of transition documents and transition communications. And so I'll be including a lot of work of the Forest Health Council and all of that, including the Forest Resilience Planning Guide and the 30-year vision. So that will also, carry over, hopefully. But I just want to also share that, both of those took a budget to complete. The Forest Resilience Planning Guide, was a lot more money. And thank you so much, State Forest Service, for supplying that and for being part of that process and for the 30-year vision. But really, as of right now, we don't have like a programmatic budget coming into the next year. So I think it would be good for this committee and then also when we talk at the full council meeting to talk about low or no cost solutions to that, or recommendations or projects that we all can work on in the coming year. I think that we have a lot going for us with what we have right now and a lot more outreach we can do too, especially with the 30-year vision and the planning guide. So I just wanted to sort of lay that groundwork too as you all start thinking about what's in front of you for the next year.
Thanks, Allison. Yeah, I feel like I'm starting to see kind of all these pieces and our committee's role in putting them all together into a big puzzle and hopefully leveraging resources to do it with existing resources. Laura has a hand up.
Thanks, Allison, for that update. I just want to offer up a reminder that I am now with CFRI and as a communication specialist and working to, make the Forest Resilience Planning Guide more applicable is an explicit part of my role. So just keep me in mind on those things. Feel free to reach out.
Thanks, Laura. We definitely will.
Katie, I have to hop off, and congratulations, Laura. I'm really excited for your new position. Thank you all for a little bit of time today. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Allison. It was good to see you. All right. I don't know how many people had a chance to review that document, but I guess I'll just kind of open the floor now for if people had any initial ideas or interests related to what Courtney shared with the kind of connecting the Forest Action Plan and the vision and the things that the Forest Health Council talked about. Anything right now, or we'll also be talking about it in more depth at the full council meeting. Cool. Okay. I guess with that, we can go on to what was listed as number 5 on the agenda, but we're going to move it to the final item, which is Forest Resilience Planning Guide. Laura, do you happen to have any updates on the Forest Resilience Planning Guide since the last meeting? This is just something that I added as a standing agenda item, but it's okay if there's not.
I don't know if any of this is new, but I'll just remind folks kind of what's going on. So on the Wednesday of the Forest Collaboratives Network Summit, there will be a training hosted to get some people get their feet wet with the guide and learn more about applying it in their own collaboratives. And we're working to kind of pilot those training opportunities. So hopefully we can build more kind of plug and play training materials for the planning guide. And I think that's our biggest effort right now. I'm just going to double check my notes. Oh, and just in case we didn't already report out about the collaboration with CCC to deliver the Collaborative Conservation Institute, which a lot of participants from CSU Extension and the State Forest Service were part of. So 2 of the modules out of kind of a handful, I don't recall how many actually, were focused around the Forest Resilience Planning Guide. So I think at this point, a lot of people know what the guide is, and we're still working to get people to feel more comfortable with its applications and uses. Happy to answer any questions too. And like I said, if there are things you're thinking about, please feel free to reach out to me and we can talk about ways I might be able to support that applications piece.
Thank you, Laura. I think this is more of a comment than anything, but this is also kind of going back to what I just said about all these pieces, and our role can be connecting all of the pieces. I think what Laura just said is a lot of people know about the Forest Resilience Planning Guide, but trying to actually apply it. And I think the same thing could be said for the 30-year vision. And maybe that's something that this committee can work more on, is like, the 30-year vision is out there. How many people know about it? Hopefully a lot, but how much is it guiding what people are thinking about, or how much is it being socialized? Could we use it more as like a public education tool? That could be something I think for this committee to be keeping our eye on, is like, we have these things and how can we make sure that they're really that we're making the most of them. All right. Any other questions, comments? We have a full council meeting coming up later this month, and I think this was a little bit of a lighter meeting just because I think we're going to discuss a lot of stuff at that meeting that will then help inform this committee. So I guess if anyone else has anything related to that meeting or anything else, speak now. And if not, I think it's probably okay to end there, and we'll all see each other in a couple of weeks. Courtney, do you have anything to add?
I don't think I have anything to add. In terms of the next council meeting, I know there's been a lot of discussions about how the council's working, how the committees are working. And so what I'm hearing is that this committee is, like finding more that it wants to work on. So just like a heads up that we want to put this back on the agenda for the full council meeting, even if, because I think there's been lots of discussions within the committee, but just to fill the rest of the council in, there's probably people that, last time we talked, there was discussion of making subject matter groups, and doesn't seem like that's going to happen anymore. So just kind of heads up to you, Katie, and also you, Jody, that we'll put that back on the agenda, even if the update is like, hey, the committees are going to keep operating as is, or it sounds like, Katie, you want to hear from the council a little bit about what its vision is too. So that's just kind of what I want to add about the August full council meeting.
Awesome. Yeah, I know I would really love to get a little bit more direction from the full council as far as like what their needs and expectations and desires are from this committee. And that can help us because we have, we've talked about all these different initiatives that we want to be involved in and figuring out what exactly we do with those things.
Yeah.
So
that sounds great. Yeah. There's so many things already produced that are so great that I loved how you were like, who's kind of helping ensure these are getting moved forward. And it's nice that, CFRI is doing some of that, and the committee is doing so much of that, and the Center Collaboratives Network is doing that. So thanks for all the work that people are already doing to help get these resources out.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, if that's all that everyone has, I think we can call it there. Could I
I move to adjourn, Madam Chair.
Perfect. Thank you. And a second?
Second. Kirk seconds.
Ooh, double seconds. All right. All those in favor? Aye.
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 All right. Thank you all so much. We'll see you in a couple of weeks.
Thanks, Katie. and
Thanks,
Courtney.
Kate.
Thanks all.